Well, the first votes in Montana's general election have already been cast. MTN's Jonathan Amberian reports on the start of the early voting period and what role national trends could play on voting in the state.
Counties across Montana have officially opened in-person early voting on Friday. In Lewis and Clark County, several dozen people have already been through to get their ballots in. Lewis and Clark County, along with 44 other counties in Montana, has switched to a mail ballot election in response to COVID-19. That means ballots will be sent out to all active registered voters next Friday. However, the governor's directive that allowed counties to use mail ballots also required that they offer an in-person voting option. Many of those voting Friday in Lewis and Clark County will be out of town when the ballots are mailed out. Election officials say mail ballots and early voting both help achieve a goal, limiting the rush of people coming in to vote on Election Day. Jeremy Johnson, an associate professor of political science at Carroll College, says he expects more Montanans than ever to vote early.
Even before COVID, we've seen in each election cycle, we see more and more people voting early. And it will almost certainly be a record number this year again, particularly with COVID, and particularly as people just get comfortable with the early voting options in Montana.
The start of voting also comes as the news that President Donald Trump tested positive for COVID-19 has dominated the national discussion. Johnson says we'll have to wait and see how this story develops in the coming weeks, but there's reason to believe it might not make much difference.
One thing about the Trump presidency, though, is just how stable polling is.
Election officials say if someone wants to vote in person before mail ballots go out next week, their mail ballots will be voided. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Well, Johnson says in many states there's been evidence that Democrats are more likely to vote early, while Republicans are more likely to wait until Election Day. He says that pattern could continue this year in Montana.